Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to talk about how can we implement search functionality using both PHP and Kotlin. In this week, I am going to talk about how can we create a web API using PHP to retrieve data from the database. And inshallah, in the next week, we are going to talk about how can we create a Kotlin application which call this web API from PHP. So at first, let's suppose that we have a database called OrdersDB, and inside this database, we have a table called items. So I'm going to create a web API which retrieve data from the items table according to the name. So for example, if I write something like, for example, Arabic salad, I'm going to get all the data of Arabic salad, like price, category, photo, and so on. So now let's go to NetBeans. Let's create a new PHP file, and let's call this one as web API. Now we have this PHP file. So at first, we should make connection to the database. Our database is local, so the server is localhost, and it is called OrdersDB, and the username is root and without any password. So for the purpose of this example, I'm going to create a new object of type MySQLi so we can make connection to the database with those four parameters. Localhost is the name of the server, root is the username of the database, empty password, and our database is called OrdersDB, which is this database. Now I'm going to get a data from the items table according to the field of name, or for example ID. Let's make it from name. So in this case, I'm going to define statement which take this statement select star from items where name equal question mark, because the name will be accessed using the web parameter. Now we should define what's the meaning of this question mark. This question mark is of type string, so I'm going to put S. Now, as we send this parameter using get or post, of course we are going to send it using get, and let's call this parameter also name. Now let's execute this query using statement refer to execute. Now how can we get data? Very simple, just rs statement and get result. So all the data will be retrieved to the result set. Now to print those data, we should define a row object using the rs fetch associative, which will take all the data from the rs and store them to the row. Now let's try to print, for example, echo row, for example, price. Okay, let's try with simple one, which is the price. So if we take this one, which is Arabic salad, to search inside the database, or for example, let's make it very simpler, Pepsi. Yes, Pepsi is simpler. Okay, and now let's right click and run the file. Okay, because I'm going to use this port number, which is 8080, then question mark name equal Pepsi, which is the name of the parameter. As you can see here, 0.52. Yes, which is this one. But to call this web API from Android, Android cannot understand this type of data. It only understands either XML or JSON. And because JSON is the most favorite data format now, I'm going to convert this row to JSON. How can we convert the row to JSON? It is very simple in PHP. Just write something like JSON encode row. So let's try this example again. Let's refresh the page. Yes, as you can see here, we have got the ID, name, price, photo, and so on. all the data has been converted to JSON. Now it is very simple to call this web API from Android. In the next week, we are going to talk about how can we call this web API from Android application. So see you in the next week.